Today, I want to introduce a person. He is an interesting person. He was selling housing estates and doing very well. And one day he told me that he wanted to be a pastor. So he's the man who I told him not to be a pastor. I stopped him from being a pastor. I said, you go back and sell your real estates. Because if you become a pastor, we have to pay you. If you are real estate, you make a lot of money, you pay tithe to us. So this man is here with us, and he told me he wants to preach. He said, you are preaching in Kingdom Light. Can I also come and preach? I said, cannot. Preaching is depending on the senior pastor. Daniel Ho will give it. Then he said, okay, I'll come and praise Daniel Ho. So Daniel Ho said, can. Now, first of all, we are glad that our senior pastor is here. He had just gone through an operation of the change your cataract. And you be careful, he can see clearer now. And also, he just recovered from COVID-19. I told Judah that don't allow him to fool you. Cataract operation is very simple. And then COVID-19, no symptom type. So, but anyway, he's here. We're glad that you're here. You're still on holiday, huh, Daniel? Okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you Peter Chi and his wife. Peter and Helena, they sell real estate together because one person will sell, the other person will pray, and therefore sure the man will buy the house. You want to come this way or that way? You can walk up the step.
Yeah, thanks.
Give him the mic.
Thank you, Dr. Chong. I have 10 minutes to speak, so I've written it all down so that I will make full use of the 10 minutes. Now, I'm very excited to come and speak, but before I do so, I want to ask you a question. The question is this, how many of you have a bucket list? Okay. So please raise up your hands. Wow, good. Okay, good. Now, how many of you know what is a bucket list?
It means you kick the bucket.
Yeah. So the answer to that is, it's a list of things you want to do before you kick the bucket. And how many of you don't know what it means to kick the bucket? I think you all know.
It means bo liao.
Finish. Habis. So that is to kick the bucket. So one of the things that I want to do in my bucket list, just to share with you, is to speak in Kingdom Light Church, which was my original church, Last time, many years ago, it was called FGA Perth, but now it's Kingdom Light. So my bucket list, one of the main items I want to do is to be able to speak at least once. So today, it has been fulfilled. And I really want to thank our senior pastor, Daniel Ho, for giving me this opportunity to fulfill this item in my bucket list. So I can score it off now. Now, along with this bucket list, there comes a few bonuses. So I want to share a few bonuses that I have in this bucket list. Now, one of the bonus is when I come and speak, I have the opportunity to meet some people many years ago who were either students or young adults starting to work. So one of them, I think, is Melvin Poa. I don't know whether he's here. Maybe he's out working. He's in Singapore. Okay.
He's here.
Melvin Poa is here.
Melvin
Poa,
can
you please stand up and raise your hand? Yeah, I remember him. Now, this Melvin Poa was a student living in Hillview Terrace in Bentley, opposite the FGA Lighthouse in Bentley. And I was actually managing a house, and Melvin was a tenant. And some of you may not know, there were some students living together in that house. Melvin Poa was there, and he made my work very easy by collecting the rent for me every fortnight from the students. At that early stage, Melvin Poor exhibited his leadership skill and responsible attitude. Fast forward today, I was looking through at the Kingdom Light website, and I found that Melvin Poor is now a church elder. So Melvin Poor, can you please stand up? Church elder, you know? Wow. So many years a student, and I remember he was still not a Christian yet, but now he's the church elder, and every now and then I listen to his message in the Facebook. So that's number one. So another bonus I have opportunity to speak about is Sunny and Sharon Holt. Now, when I knew them many years ago, they were just starting to work in the marketplace. And Sunny was a faithful worship team member playing the drums, and today he's still playing the drums. And Sharon was always present in the Saturday weekly prayer meeting in the lighthouse. Fast forward today, Sunny is now Pastor Accelerate, according to the Kingdom Light website. So I tried to find out what is Pastor Accelerate. Children. And Sharon also is a student, is a children director or pastor also. So both of them have become pastors. One of them is Accelerate Pastor. So I check out Accelerate. You all know the meaning of Accelerate or not? Accelerate means
Go faster.
very fast, faster, and go forward. So, you see, many years ago, looking for a house, now they have gone up to become children pastor and also pastor exaggerate. So now for both of them, they live actually a few streets away from my house. And every now and then, I still see them courting each other, walking in the park. That's number two. Number three, I just mentioned very quickly. This one is Joshua and Helene Lu. Now, they were working young adults many years ago. When I know them, they were looking for their first home. And I was so impressed when I asked them about the home. They said they prayed hard for a good house. Fast forward today, they are now very successful in their chosen work and are very faithful in serving God. And now Joshua is the elder and church pastor. So you see, these are the things that passed many, many years ago. But today, I want to, for the next 4 or 5 minutes, speak on a very special person. And this person is a man of God from this house, from this church. And this person is someone that I admire very, very much many years ago. And what happened was, I'll just tell you a quick story. Many years ago, there was a deep hunger in my heart to study God's word and apply God's word in my heart. And I approached this person and asked him, would you mind to be my mentor? And he actually kindly consented to do so. So for 6 months, we get together on a weekly basis. So I want to keep you in suspense. You might be thinking who that person is. It's someone from this house. So for 6 months, we get together. Sometimes we go to his house. I have the privilege of selling his house. Selling the house to him. And then his house, opposite there's a park. And then sometimes he would actually do Bible study in the park. And then other times we would be going to the McDonald's restaurants to do a Bible study together. And during that time, that person, he shared practical experiences and he prayed and he exchanged his life experiences with me together. Now I want to say that the seeds that he has sown and the time that he has invested in my life have grown. And for some years now, we have been doing Bible study and helping others grow in their faith. At this stage, you must be wondering who that person is. So now I want to How many of you know who I'm referring to? Raise your hands. Just a quick guess. Oh, you said Dr. Chong? Okay. All right. Actually, the person is from this church. So Dr. Chong actually officially is not in this church yet. But that person is in front here. So it's your senior pastor, Daniel Holt. So,
Can you please stand?
ladies and gentlemen, this is the man. This is the man many, many years ago. He actually planted the seed for the love of God's word in my heart. And he invested his time in my life. And now, today, I'm happy to report to our dear senior pastor here that I'm having Bible studies and mentoring people 5 days a week, all because of the good work he has done. So you see, the seeds and the time invested have grown. So we, in a small way, have helped to restore shattered marriage relationships, and we have brought some souls into God's kingdom. And we have also witnessed some miracles helping in the Bible study groups. So I'm so happy when I see the new generation coming up, the little ones. Now they are being trained, they have been mentored, and eventually the new generation will actually become the leaders. In fact, now I can see the leaders that were many years ago have all emerged. And so in conclusion, I would like to say one verse from the Bible, and that's taken from 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 2. I'll read out for you this verse from the New King James Version. And it says, "And the things that you have heard from me among many witnesses, commit this to faithful men who will be able to teach others also." So, ladies and gentlemen, faithful men, our senior pastor have set the trend, and he has demonstrated it. And our dear senior pastor here also, Dr. Chong, have also done that. So now the trend is to commit them to faithful men who will teach others also. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Thank you. Now, do you think he's a good pastor? He would have been a good pastor, but he's actually a pastor. At the same time, he's still selling. Oh, he's retired now. He has too much money already, so he has retired. Okay. Pastor Daniel, he looks like he's quite keen to preach. Give him an opportunity. Give him. Okay. Now, Goldie has a word.
Yes, as we were worshiping, I asked the Lord for a word for somebody in this place, and I saw a picture of, actually two pictures. The first picture was a man, the two pictures are all of men, so it's for a man today in this place. This person is throwing balls into the air, juggling the balls, many balls, and some balls are just falling off, and he's not doing a very good job because there are just too many balls in the air, and he cannot manage. So I feel the Lord is saying that there's someone here who's doing too many things. You may think that you are multitasking, that you are a person who can do multitasks, but actually some are falling to the ground, and it's not correct that you think that you can do a lot of things. So please ask the Lord, what are your priorities, and do those things that are necessary so that they do not fall to the ground. The second picture I saw just now is a man with trousers, and it's very embarrassing. The trousers are falling off because it's too loose, and what he needs is a belt to hold up the trousers, right? So if you think that things are just going down and that it's embarrassing and that you are going to be in trouble and people are going to look at you, So get the belt, right? Ask Jesus to be the belt to hold up your trousers, right? Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Okay, now, are we all ready to go?
Yeah, sure. I thought you were talking about me. But I have my belt.
The Jews have a lot of prayers. If you look into the Bible, there is the Aaronic prayer, the Lord bless you and keep you, the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you, so on. They have a prayer for everything. And they have a prayer which I really appreciate is after you go to the toilet, you pray that prayer. So I think that is really a very appropriate prayer. Every time you can be so grateful
the Cantonese says 舒服晒. So comfortable after you're released. Is that what this meant?
Yes, you have that wonderful feeling that you were able to do it. So the Jews have a very important prayer, one of the most important
It's on the
prayers.
screen.
Yes, and it's called the Shema. Now, after World War II, after the Holocaust, many orphans were left because their parents have been killed. And they were sent to different places, and they were without parents, without support. There was an organization that tried to find them and to take care of them. But how to find these Jewish children? How were they to identify that this is a Jewish child? They thought of one thing. They went to the orphanage, they asked the children, can you say the Shema? The Shema is the prayer. So that's the prayer. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength. So this is the prayer that the whole family will pray morning and night. And when they pray this, the children hear it twice a day, and they remembered. So when the people went to the orphanage, say, can you say the Shema? And those children who could say the Shema, they were the Jewish children. So what Peter has just said, yes, passing what we have received down through the generations from the children. And when they get it, they will be very strong in their faith, and they will be able to pass on to the next generation. So that is our topic today, that we, in the family, what we learn in the church, everything that we learn in the church, we should bring it into our families.
The Shema prayer is embedded in Deuteronomy chapter 6. I asked Goldie to read. Can you read?
These are the commands, decrees, and laws the Lord your God directed me to teach you to observe in the land that you are crossing the Jordan to possess, so that you, your children, and their children after them may fear the Lord your God as long as you live, by keeping all his decrees and commands that I give you, and so that you may enjoy long life. Hear, Israel, and be careful to obey, so that it may go well with you, and that you may increase greatly in a land flowing with milk and honey, just as the Lord, the God of your ancestors, promised you. Some more. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength. These commands that I give you today are to be on your hearts. Impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at home, when you walk along the road, when you lie down, and when you get up. Tie them as symbols on your hands and bind them on your foreheads. Write them on the door frames of your houses. and on your gates.
Now, the reason why we read this out, a long passage, is because I want you to look into the context of the Shema prayer. In the Deuteronomy, Moses have just received the Ten Commandments directly from God. And he was, first 2 or 3, 4, 5 chapters, he was telling the Jews, explaining the importance of the Ten Commandments. Then in chapter 6, he changed his tactic. He was telling the Jews that now, if you read carefully what he was instructing the Jews, he was actually telling the Jews that you have heard the Ten Commandments. Now I want you to bring the Ten Commandments into your family. See, that's the point. If you look carefully what he said. And what is more important is that not only take it into the family, but give the instructions to your children first. That is our challenge to all of us here today. The world, as I was telling you right at the beginning of this series, that the world is attacking the family with all kind of difficult teaching, the same-sex marriage, every other thing. And they are saying that they're removing the absolute truth from the vocabulary of our children. And God is telling Moses to tell the Israelites to protect the family first, and to protect the family against the attacks of the world. You have to start with the children. You have to start reinforcing, bring the Ten Commandments to your children. And that's the challenge to all of us. We know all the Ten Commandments. We learn all the things about Christian value in the church. Pastor Daniel has preached to us very faithfully from the Bible about some of the Christian principles. Now, many of us have begun to see the importance of this teaching, and we are taking out the wall of the church into workplaces, into the neighborhood. But above all, I want to challenge all of us to bring those teachings into the family. That's the important thing. That's the whole thing that we want to talk about. Now, we'll analyze some of the phrases together. Love the Lord, direct me to teach you to observe in the land that you are crossing, the Jordan to possess. The Lord is instructing Moses to bring the Ten Commandments into the Jewish family. Likewise, we Christians need to bring our church, what we learn from the church, into our families. So I'm emphasizing this again. So that your children and their children after them may fear the Lord your God, as long as you live by the keeping all of his decrees and commands that I give you, and so that you may enjoy life. So what we're saying that today we want to suggest to some of us, let's consider the topic of parenting, and perhaps some of us will be grandparenting. What are the implications of this? Very important teaching about bringing the decree that we learn in the church, the lesson we learn in the church, right into the family and right to the children first. Because God knew that to protect the family, we have to start with protecting the children and reinforcing to the children the Christian principles, when they are young. So let's go on and see. Hear, O Israel, be careful to obey, so that it may go well with you, and that you may increase greatly in the land flowing with milk and honey. What does that mean? The paradoxical thing is that when you want to teach the children Christian principle, you yourself, we ourselves, must obey the Ten Commandments first. We have to be strong ourselves. We must be convinced what we are doing. And as husband and wife, or as the leaders in the family, are we manifesting? Are we doing the things which we are asked to do? For instance, Are we respecting our elders? If we want our children to respect us, we in turn must show that we are respecting our elders. Goldie is very impressed with this.
Yeah. Did you receive this through some of the chat groups? This man, they are refugees. They are running away somewhere in Bangladesh. And the parents are so old, they cannot walk. And this son is honoring his father and mother. He is carrying them, walking 7 days, it says, that they were going to go to a new place and not leaving them behind. So actually the first commandment, no, not the first, the fifth commandment is honor your father and mother. The
Fifth of six,
fifth,
Fifth.
yes, that it is a commandment with a promise that you may live long, that you may have a long life. So as parents, if we be the parents that we should be, the children will also follow the example. I remember once my daughter and granddaughter went to our house. We were not at home, and my mother, who was very old, she had just dirtied the bed, and it was a mess all over. And my daughter tried to clean up the mess, and her daughter, who was a young girl at that time, she looked and said, "My, what a mess, and you have to do this." And she started to cry. She said, "One day when you are old, Mommy, will I have to do this for you?" Yes. So the commandment is that we honor our parents when they are older. The way that we treat them is the way that we will be treated by our children when we grow old.
Well, our youngest daughter, Lisa, is she here? Are you here with? No, you don't have to be frightened. One day, you don't have to carry us like that.
You may have to.
But there may be wheelchairs, you see. But anyway, that's the idea. We have to show examples. You want your children to respect you, we have to respect our parents. I think that's what it is. Then the other thing is, the people say that what is the best way to secure the children, to feel safe? You know what they say?
There was a survey taken asking the children, what do you want most in the family? So they were thinking, I want to have more freedom, I want to have more pocket money, I want to have more TV time and so on. But surprisingly, from this survey, they found out that what the children wanted most was that their father and their mother love one another, love each other. That's the most that they wanted.
Sometimes our children or grandchildren are they argue, they talk, and then sometimes, most of the time, they're very loving and very caring for one another. But sometimes they lose the cool and they start to fight. Or you used to tear her hair when you see our daughters fighting.
Not literally. I didn't tear my hair literally.
But then we have been telling our grandchildren about what's the famous, do not let.
Yes.
Goldie will now recite to you.
Ephesians 4:29. So we take this as our motto, and we try to teach other people also in our cell group, in our family. Do not let any unwholesome. Maybe is Omi there? Is Omi there? Yes. Now, Omi knows how to recite this verse. Omi, you just stand up and say, "Do not let any unwholesome talk." Yes.
Omi and Nelly are together.
Yes, together. All right.
Come.
They know this verse by heart, right? Do not let any unwholesome talk.
Can you see her? Both of them there.
Louder.
Good.
Excellent.
Beautiful.
Yes. For that, she's going to get a prize. Yeah.
The older sister also can, huh?
Yes,
But she's
both
a
of
bit
them
shy.
can. Yes.
Okay.
So in the
Now,
family,
the point is, you and I have to be careful. Huh? You tell them to recite and all these things, but sometimes you scold me. Huh?
to teach you, the Bible says, to train you in righteousness, to rebuke and to correct,
All right, all
and
right.
to equip you for every good work.
No, the point is what we are saying. Huh? You understand what I'm saying? We have to show the examples. You do just teach people, but you have to do it. I think that what is meant, that's the important thing in the family. And sometimes we forget and we miss the point. We're not telling you that that's how we are always successful. Sometimes we fail. Sometimes we also lose head. And in fact, once you beat me,
You tell that again. This is
yeah,
the third time.
that's worthwhile telling you. So, but the point is, let's remember, if you make a mistake, say sorry. Say sorry. If you don't want to say sorry, you make a cup of coffee and offer it with sugar.
Yes, some of the things that we try to do in the family in order to uh, to carry out what the Bible tells us, actually to be Christ-like. One is to say sorry, as you said. Just now, we experienced lovely apology from one of our relatives.
Okay.
Very spontaneous. That's yeah. Is and also to be able to uh, not to hold a grudge and to forgive. My favorite topic, one of my favorite topics, is about forgiveness. Because according to medical research, a lot of sicknesses is due to people who cannot forgive. There's such bitterness in their hearts and such anger and such resentment that they become sick physically, not only physically sick, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually sick. So the thing is that we have to understand what forgiveness is. Jesus tells very clearly in the Lord's Prayer, forgive us our debts, forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive others who trespass against us. So as God has forgiven us, we forgive other people. And a forgiveness, actually, there was a movie, as Joshua said, there was an old movie. I think this is also an old movie. And this phrase has become very famous, but is absolutely wrong. Say this man and this lady, they love each other, and they say, love, what is love? Love is never having to say sorry. Love is never having to say sorry. What absolute rubbish. You have to say sorry and ask for forgiveness and release forgiveness all the time in order that we become healthy in our mind, our body, our spirit.
Yeah.
Right. I was talking about forgiveness. I give one example
Go ahead.
of good relationship in the family. My mother stayed with us. They moved from Hong Kong to Perth, and after my father passed away, she stayed with us for 18 years. And in that time, there was no quarrel, no disagreement, no fighting, no shouting between her and me, and between her and
Her
the
son-in-law.
son-in-law, and with the grandchildren. And so, is it because that we are so good that we can live harmoniously together? No, it is
Actually, I
because
was quite good.
yeah, you are a good son-in-law. That you can get credit for. The secret was when she was 100 years old, in Perth, they celebrate 100-year-old birthdays, and the Queen of England would send a birthday card. And the reporter came and interviewed her and asked, what is your secret of long life? And she gave two secrets. So one is forgive everyone And secondly is don't be a busybody. And she really lived up to that motto. I won't talk about her forgiveness because it was really marvelous transformation. Well, I will tell about her forgiveness because it's so remarkable, and it is a miracle, and it is supernatural. Right? She has been doing a lot of good works. She had an orphanage, she had a blind music choir orchestra, she had a factory, she had a school. And with all these dealings, there were people who didn't like her, accused, criticized, judged, said all kinds of things behind her back, and she was very, very hurt and angry. And she was so upset that every time when we meet, she would complain and complain like a broken record. And by that time, we were already living in Australia. But every time she writes letters, she would repeat all the complaints. So one day when we went back to Hong Kong to visit, my daughter and I, again hearing this broken record going on. So we said, Mom, would you like us to pray for you? She said, yes. So we prayed for her to ask her to say that she forgives all these people, name these people, forgive them. And so she did. And then we said, you must also ask God to forgive you because you have been so angry. You have sinned also against God. You have to ask God to forgive you. So she was willing to do that. And after that, we took the powerful name of Jesus as a knife and cut off all those bad memories, all the words that were spoken, all the behavior, all those events. Very powerful, supernatural weapon to cut off the past. And from then on, the record was really broken because she lived with us for 18 years. She never brought up any of those things. It was a complete transformation, right? So forgiveness, right, it has to be done supernaturally. And in this talk, we want to tell you that things that are not possible with us human beings, we are so limited. We just don't want to do the right thing, even though we know what is the right thing. But the thing is, there is supernatural help, supernatural power to help us. And that is what we are going to emphasize throughout here. All right, now I haven't finished because I was going to tell you about her two secrets, right? One is to forgive everyone, and that she did. So in our family, of course, there will be so many different ways of doing things, different people with different personalities, idiosyncrasies, habits, everything. So irritating, in a family. But she is able to forgive every time she sees something that is not to her liking, right? She carried out what she experienced to forgive us, forgive me. I'm sure many times I deserve scolding or deserve some, but she was able to forgive. And also not be a busybody. Now, all of you who have adult children, this is very important to remember. One day, we were having dinner with my daughter, and we were saying that if one of us dies, what am I going to do? Where am I going to stay? I don't want to go to old folks' home. I said, I'm coming to stay with you. And there was a shocked silence. I didn't give her any warning. I just say, well, if that goes first, I'm coming to stay with you. So after that, what could she do? She said, welcome. So I think I'll take her word for it. So don't be a busybody. That's not your home anymore. It's your daughter's home. It's your son's home. It's not for grandparents, not for in-laws to tell them what to do, how to run their lives, how to bring up their children. Right. So these two secrets, I think, they are really going to help me Because one day when I go and stay with my daughter, I will remember I must forgive her and her children and her husband especially. Forgive them and don't be a busybody. Keep my mouth shut. Okay, I finished.
Now, what this long-winded discourse was actually, I bring it back. We are talking about being examples in the family.
Oh, we
And
don't have much time.
yeah, I know, because you took so long. So the thing is, it's not easy. Not easy to keep your mouth shut. It's not easy to forgive. But that's where the commercial comes in. You come to set free. I think all cell leaders must learn how to do set free for your cell members. Because we are asked to do things, set up good examples in the family, and it's not easy. So we need to humble ourselves and say that we have this difficulty. Ask the Lord to help us to release forgiveness and how to live graciously and how to live humbly to ask for forgiveness. We forgive others, we also ask people to forgive us. I think that's the important thing. Now they think that, now the next thing is very quickly then we want to talk about. This is the important thing. Once we are strong ourselves, then we have to think about passing on, teaching our children how to behave. So that's what the whole thing is talking about is impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at home and when you walk along the road, when you lie down and when you get up. Tie them as symbols on your hands and bind them on your foreheads. Write them on the door frames of your house and on your gates. Now that's quite impossible to do, tying things so you have things hanging around your forehead and all that. But the main thing is, if you look carefully, it's talking about to teach the children or your grandchildren. It's important to bring up, understand that it must start with relationship. That means whenever the children are, or whether the grandchildren are, you build up relationship first. I think that's what Pastor Daniel talked about. Luke 10 principle. Because you preach the gospel, you build up relationships first. You go to the house, visit them, have a cup of coffee or have a meal with them, and build up relationship. And talk about your own self, your needs, and then you pray for their needs and their needs. So build up relationship. Quality time. You want to talk about quality? How do you spend quality time with your children?
Our daughter, we were quite amazed. Once in a while, she and the husband would go away. I said, is it a second honeymoon? No, third honeymoon, fourth honeymoon, fifth honeymoon. Once in a while, regularly, two of them would go off and spend time together. So I think that is very important for husband and wife. And also, when the children reach, they have 3 kids, when they reach 12 years old, the father, usually it's the father or both of them, would take the kid on a trip all by himself and herself. So that's something that they look forward to. They are going to spend quality time together, one-on-one. And I think it's important. Husband and wife need to spend quality time together. Now that we are retired, every morning we spend time together. When we sit at the breakfast table, he will talk. Usually he will be the one to talk and talk and talk, and I will be the one to listen. So that's actually quality time also for us. Before, we never had time to just sit down and look at each other and talk about things. So actually it's a habit that has to be cultivated. When you go to a restaurant, you see a man and a woman eating together, you know whether they are married or not, isn't it? When they are each looking at their phones, you know that this couple has been married a long time. But if they're talking and talking and talking, that means they are not yet married. Right. So develop the habit of talking to each other until we are old. Yeah.
Yeah, actually what we meant is not only spend time with the children, but spend quality time, not quantity time. Quantity time is sometimes you go there, you eat, you look at the food, or you look at your mobile phone, or you go family outing or family retreat. You actually go and sightsee. You go to different restaurants, but you have to intentionally make it a point to bring in Christian value in your meeting. We have to spend time. You have to ask the Lord to give you wisdom how to do it unobtrusively, but make it fun. And don't say, let's have a Bible study. Like learn to like Patrick and Peter G and Helena. They don't say let's do a Bible study and bring out the Bible. They say let's do a Bible study. They bring out a sheet. They print it on the printer. It's about story about good Samaritan, about a prodigal son and all this. Let's discuss. Have intentional plan the thing. Bring in Christian value into your quality, into your time with your children. I think that's
I think I just make one more point and then we can finish.
Okay.
Right? Because it's really
that's
time already.
how quality time. She make one more point and we finish.
Another of my motto is that do not let the sun go down while you are still angry. Do not give the devil a foothold. And we have tried to keep that. Sometimes it's very difficult. Even at 11 o'clock, we try to be reconciled. Not that we can solve the problem and come to agreement. A lot of things you cannot come to agreement by midnight. But is to go to bed without being angry. And how can that be possible is really very, very difficult. But again, I say that we need supernatural help. Forgive that person, release forgiveness, ask God to forgive me for being angry, for sinning, and then use the powerful weapon of Jesus' name to cut off what has been said, what has been expressed, what has been even beaten. So cut that off. And then the peace of God, which surpasses our understanding, really surpasses our understanding, will keep my heart and mind on Christ Jesus and not on that painful event. So do not let the sun go down while you are still angry. Because if you are still angry, who is sleeping next to you? The devil is sleeping next to you. So you won't be able to sleep the whole night.
So my part of the story is that I make her keep her word. Sometimes after a dispute or disagreement, and then she'll go to sleep. She thought that everything is clear. But inside it's still fuming.
You are
Yeah,
fuming.
I'm still fuming. So what I do is I pray and ask the Lord to calm me down. When it's calmed down, then I wake her up. Hey, I want to say sorry to you.
Yeah, and when we say sorry, we just say, I'm sorry lah.
No, don't say like that. Okay lah, sorry lah.
We must say what we are sorry about. Yeah, it's very important. Because sometimes you say sorry, I don't really know that you know what you have done wrong. You know? Yeah.
So how? No, I think you know what I mean. Huh? So you have to be, you yourself must be very careful. Don't just simply say sorry. And sometimes our children or grandchildren will say, it's no use sorry. Your sorry is not a real sorry. So we have to be sincere. Like me, I had to ask the Lord to really make me feel bad. And then I'm convicted of that. Then I go wake her up and say sorry. Now, I think we better stop now.
Yeah.
The thing is, what we are saying to you is, they are not our success. Many times we say this because we failed. When to look back, we failed. And if you want to make attempt to follow what we say, we advise you, I will tell you that it's not easy. It's not easy until we understand. We have to use His power. You have to go to Him. You want to say the few words?
Yes, because Jesus himself says that he is the vine and we are the branches. If you are not connected to the vine, you cannot do anything. You will not be able to bear fruit. And it's true. We know as human beings we are so self-righteous, so selfish, so reacting, and all those fleshly sins that we just cannot. Impossible with man, but with God everything is possible. So when we get the supernatural strength from the Lord, we are connected with Him. And this is not just at the emergency that we go connected with the Lord. It must be built up. The relationship with the Lord must be built up throughout our young days, yes, to know that we have this supernatural power. And Ephesians 1:19,
20.
this power is remarkable. So don't say, I can't do it, because God has already promised this power that is available to every one of us all the time. And it's the power
It's
that raised
incomparable
Jesus
power.
from the dead. Imagine that power that raised Jesus from the dead is given to every one of us to use. So will you use that power? Will you believe that you have that power? Will you try it out? You will find that the more you do it, the more you get that power, the more you will be convinced that what Jesus promised is true.
Yeah, may we closing challenge all of us to bring Christian teaching into the family. What we are saying is very common. All of us know that. That I want to ask you to make a commitment. You intentionally, you deliberately make a special effort to bring Christian teaching into the family, to your children. May I suggest that those of you who are with your spouse here, can you please stand together? All of us stand. And if you can go, if your spouse is here, go near to the spouse and hold his hand or hold her hand. And I'm going to pray and challenge you. And those of you who are not married yet, and we also ask you to commit yourself, because when in the church, I don't know whether it's when we good when you dedicate a baby or infant to the Lord, and not infant baptism, we challenge the whole church. Say, this family have brought their son and daughter to the church. Will the whole church help the family, the parents, to bring up the children? So those of you who are not married, you may want to also commit yourself that when you are eventually become a parent or you have a family, you bring Christ into your family. And you also help other people to bring Christ into their family. Shall we pray? Father, I want to bring ourselves, all the couples here, and those who are looking forward to marriage, that you commit each one of us to bring Jesus Christ into the family. Let Jesus be the third person, the fourth person right in our midst. We ask you to give us wisdom how to bring it intentionally to our children and to their children. We thank you, Father, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.